Welcome to this ship tour of Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. Originally launched in 2002 and then re-amplified again in 2019, this Voyager class ship has something for everyone in your family. On this specific cruise that we took, we had mom and dad and grandma and 3 kids, ages 2, 5, and 7. Here you can see a map and directory of the ship and everything that the Navigator has to offer. So let's start from the top and work our way down. On the top decks, you have the sports area where they have the basketball court, which is also used for pickleball, dodgeball, other games throughout the day. They also have ping pong tables. They have the rock wall. As you can see, there are 2 different water slides there. They have the Blaster, which is a 2-person slide, which is a lot of fun. The rafts are carried up on a conveyor, so you don't have to carry those up. There was never a line for the Blaster. The Riptide is a single-person slide where you go head down first on a mats, and you pick the mats up at the bottom of the slide and carry those up. There are height restrictions, and there is typically a crew member there to verify that whoever's going down the slides are tall enough, so make sure you are aware of that. The rock climbing wall is also a ton of fun. It's only open during specific hours, so make sure you check those, and you do have to be at least 6 years old in order to climb, so just be aware of that. We also have the Flow Rider, which is always a popular and fun thing to do on the Royal Caribbean ships. Fun to go and just watch people do their thing on theirs. And then, of course, you have the Navigator Dunes, which is the mini golf course on the Navigator of the Seas. This was a very popular attraction on the ship. This is a quick look at the gym, which has lots of equipment, something for everyone in there. And then Adventure Ocean, the kids club, where they have some TVs and activities throughout the day, and then a smaller wall that kids can climb who can't go on the real thing. And then right next door to that, they have an arcade, which our kids absolutely loved. This is an extra cost, and these games are not cheap, but the kids loved them and had so much fun doing that. And now to the pool deck, everyone's favorite area of the ship. There are 2 pools side by side with some green chairs in the middle, which is fun to relax in the water. The kids must be potty trained in order to go and swim in the pools. They do not allow swim diapers. There is a very small splash area for the non-potty trained kids. Our 2-year-olds actually enjoyed this quite a bit, spent more time there than I thought she would. She had a lot of fun playing in there while the other older kids were swimming in the pools. There are a total of 4 hot tubs. There are 2 at the top. You can see one up there above the clock, and then 2 on the lower decks. They have Swirls, which is a soft-served ice cream there in the back left. You can get all the soft-served ice cream you can ask for. It's always a popular place among kids and adults. There's a good amount of seating around this deck. We never really had too much of a hard time finding an empty chair or somewhere to sit. There are cabanas up at the top and on the lower decks available for rent. The cheapest that we saw were $100 per day on port days, and then $250 a day on sea days. They have the lime and coconut bar. They have a sky bar on top with servers coming around to those who are seated around the pool deck. They also have a Johnny Rockets Express, which is a smaller version of Johnny Rockets restaurants, but practically the same thing with the same menu, which is a good spot for a cold chocolate shake on a warm day. This is a specialty restaurant, so the food does come at an extra cost. They also have El Loco Fresh on the other side, which is a popular favorite as well. This is included in your cruise fare. They have burritos, tacos, nachos, and a really cool salsa bar. Next up on the same deck is the Salarium, which is the adults only section of the ship. This has a small pool and 2 hot tubs, and it's a great place for those looking to escape the noise from the main pool area there on the ship. Next up is the Windjammer, which is the always popular buffet on Royal Caribbean ships. They have everything for anyone, and this is where we spent most of our time for breakfast and for lunch. It can get pretty crowded and was difficult for us to find a table for 6 during the peak dining hours, but they do have some overflow dining in Jamie's Italian restaurant, so you can keep that in mind. But lots of food, great for the kids, lots of different options. It's a wonderful place to go. Next up is Chops Grill, and then Jamie's Italian, some of the specialty restaurants they have here on the ship. Chops Grill is the steakhouse. If you're looking for a nice steak, a nice place to sit down and eat, that is a great option for you. Jamie's Italian, same thing, only Italian food, has some great options for you, very tasty, although it does come at an extra cost. And now we'll head down to Deck 5 on the Royal Promenade, which is a really fun area to go and hang out. They have some more dining venues. They have some shops. They have a hair salon called To Dry For, which is pretty clever. They have this store here called The Collection, where you can buy some souvenirs and also some odds and ends of things you might need while you were on the cruise ship. They have the Bamboo Room, which is a fun place to go and hang out and relax for a little bit. They also have Cafe Promenade, which is a dining area where you can have some lighter snacks. They have some sandwiches, some desserts, and some late night pizza. They have Port Merchants, which is where you can buy some duty-free alcohol. Across the way, they have Regalia, which is where you can buy some fine jewelry. And then down here on the left is where you find customer service. On the other side, they have Playmakers, which is your sports bar, a fun place to go and relax and catch up on some games you might be missing while you were out cruising. Next up, you have the Star Lounge, which is a fun little area where they have some activities and some games. They have trivia games here. They have karaoke. One fun tip, if you're looking for a little adventure, when you get to this point right here, you turn right and there's a door that leads to outside. If you follow those portholes that go all the way down, you will find yourself on the helipad. It's really hard to find unless you are looking for it, but a fun area to go out and look at some views. This right here is Ensenada, Mexico. As we went out there and looked at the surrounding area, and it was just a beautiful view. On Deck 4, you'll find another specialty restaurant called Hooked, which is your seafood venue that has many of the popular seafood dishes. Again, this is a specialty restaurant, so there is an added cost to dine here, but it does have a fun vibe to it. On the other side, we have the main dining room, which is where you'll spend a lot of your time eating dinner. The food was fine here, nothing incredibly impressive, but we were grateful, again, for not having to cook our own dinner for our kids. The service was a little bit slower, but we found out later that our assistant waiter was out sick, so the head waiter was falling a little bit behind, which was understandable. Inside the main theater is where you find the bigger productions like bingo, comedy, variety shows, and other productions. We were there, they had Albert Lucas, who is a world famous juggler, and he could also balance ladders on his chin, which was pretty cool. Our kids absolutely loved this, and it was one of their favorite parts of the cruise. There was another headliner show that we were told by staff was kid-friendly, but when we got there, we ended up leaving shortly after because the costumes of the women that they were wearing were definitely not appropriate for young kids. So just be careful with what you take them to if you're worried about that. Then you have Studio B, which is where they hold the ice skating shows. Our kids loved it so much we went to it both times that it was available. No reservations are required, and the show was absolutely amazing. On off days, they allow you to put on skates and try it out for yourself, which does require a reservation, so make sure you make note of that. But it was a ton of fun, and our kids had a blast doing this. The Navigator of the Seas offers so many things to do to keep you entertained, especially the kids. Whether it's a sea day or a port day, you will never find yourself bored with nothing to do. One of the ports we stopped at was Catalina Island, where we rented a golf cart and drove up to the top of the mountain to look at the different views around the island, which was just incredible and so much fun. Our kids had a blast on this cruise, and they were ready to go on another sailing as soon as we disembarked from the ship. Thank you so much for watching and going on this adventure with us. Please remember to like and subscribe so the Cruise Dude can keep you entertained with more cruising adventures.